On today's starting nine, Jake joins us from a water park. Carl's back in the Barstool Chicago office, and we've got Colin Cooper on the ones and twos out in New York. It's a huge day for starting nine, getting caught up on a ton of stuff around the weekend. Series previews, some award seasons, whatever, guys. It's Tuesday. Let's have a great show. Let's have a great day. Action! And welcome back to Starting Nine. It's Carl here in Chicago. Jake, I'm just going to say it. If you're subscribed to our YouTube, you are well aware you look ridiculous. Colin, it's good to see you.
Man, hey, look, you're bald. You need a Tilly hat. If you like to fish, you like to be outdoors. For some reason, I've got a blade with me. I've got a Bad Birdie shirt on. You know, I feel good about it. It's a good setup. The kids are, working the slides right now. I took a little break. We hit the buffet this morning. It's been a blast. We're staying, we stayed last night, staying tonight, and then we'll get back to reality tomorrow.
So how many days you're at a water park? How many days at a water park will you do?
Yeah. Well, so we had a shitty showing in the tournament this weekend. We went 2-0. We handled business. We played a really good team the first game, beat them 4-2. Second game, we played a 9U majors team, and we're 10U. We beat them like 14-2, and then we came out yesterday and played our 9U Outlaws team. We're the 10U Outlaws. We played the 9U team. So it was a big game for us. It's like it's almost a lose-lose situation. You can't lose to the 9U team. But then do we start our best pitcher or one of our best pitchers? Like how do we handle that? So we started one of our better guys. I think we ended up beating them like 11-1. We ruled them after 4 innings. Then we got beat by a really good Bucks team. We lost 8-5. We gave up 5 unearned runs in 1 inning. So we kind of shit the bed there. If the ball hits your glove, you have to catch it. Am I right?
Doesn't matter if you're 10 years old. If the ball hits your glove, you got to catch it.
I don't give a shit if you're 10. If it hits your glove, we're at the point now where you just have to make the plays that are expected to be made. We're not asking you to make, the outstanding diving plays all the time, which we do on occasion. But if the ball hits your glove, you got to catch it. Plain and simple.
Hey, it's like this is an important time for a young baseball player because you get to introduce the disappointment. It's like, you're 8, 9, whatever. Yeah. Like now it's the time you go home, you're like, God damn it, I made an error. Like if you're 8, I feel like 10 is that's where it really starts.
Well, I mean, these kids are fairly advanced, and you don't want to beat them up too bad, but you also need to, set the expectations. We expect them to do certain things on a consistent basis. And are they going to make errors? Of course, like everyone makes errors, even at the highest level. But then at the end of the day, when we meet as a team after, like we did yesterday when we lost the last game, we go, look, guys, we're still really proud of you. We love all you guys, but we know what you're capable of, and that's why it's frustrating. So, learning from mistakes at a young age is what baseball is all about, or any sport for that matter. And when kids continue to make the same mistakes, it gets a little frustrating as a coach. But at the end of the day, you got to remember they're 10, and that's why we're here at Waterpark now.
I was going to say, sounds like you might be getting in front of something.
Yeah, I mean, the party's right outside. So, after we do this, I'm going to be back in the mix. We're going to bowl. We're going to, the kids are looking for girls already in their 10. Is that too early? Like, what do I say to them? Do I tell you?
Nothing.
It's a weird thing.
Absolutely nothing, pal. You have nothing to say at all.
But then I got an 8-year-old daughter. So it's,
you talk to her. You better be talking to her. The boys just let them catch and release.
She's going to be a problem. My daughter Palmer is going to be a problem. She's 8, and like when I see her, especially in the summer, like the way she dresses, like, are you going to Austin City Limits? You going to Coachella? Like, it's just it's too soon for that.
8.
and Felix Gray sent me these really cool blue blocker glasses, and she put them on. I'm like, all right, you look 15. I need you to take those off. It's just too much.
Hey, speaking of Felix Gray, you brought it up. Let's just talk about our good friends real quick. If you're watching this on YouTube, throw us a subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. But also, you're probably noticing, why do I look so good? And it's because I'm wearing these Felix Gray. These are non-prescription glasses. They also do prescription glasses, specially designed with lenses that filter blue light and reduce glare. I'm telling you guys, the glare, it's gone. The lenses filter 15 times more blue light that can make screen time tough on eyes and disruptive to sleep. You guys have obviously read the studies. You've heard the stories. It's the blue light that's really getting to us, and Felix Gray's out here to combat it. How many hours a day do you spend staring at a screen? Me, obviously, a ton. That's why I like the turquoise turtle shell frames, which I know, Jake, you're very jealous of these frames. You think these frames look good on me.
I know they do look good on you. Sorry for the voice crack.
Squeak.
It's been a long day, but look, I prefer black frames. You have a little bit of red hair left, so the turquoise looks good on you. It does, but for me, I like the black frames.
And I got good news for you and other people who like black frames. Felix Gray has them all. I encourage you guys to go check them out. Non-prescription and prescription available. You guys don't have to sacrifice style for function when it comes to filtering out blue light. And it's very easy. They got a fit guide, a nice virtual experience. If you don't believe me, go check it out. FelixGrayGlasses.com/starting. That's FelixGray glasses.com. STARTING. FelixGrayGlasses.com/starting. Free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. FelixGrayGlasses.com/starting. Go check those out. I do look good. Take me back to the water park for a second. You said something earlier that piqued my interest. It was the word buffet. I feel a guy like you. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Because you can go either way. You're a hungry boy. But you also have some sort of you have guidelines, you have principles you live by. So, like, how do you approach a water park buffet?
I'll be honest. I've been kind of going back and forth with on the wagon, off the wagon. This morning I was good. I had a bunch of scrambled eggs, and they had like a carving station. So I would describe this buffet as kind of like a middle of the road Vegas buffet, right? Like you've got your super nice, like the Wynn and let's say like maybe Caesars or Aria or Cosmo, whatever. Then you've got like the Nugget and some of these other places like in downtown. It's kind of in between. It's not amazing and it's not bad. So I did a bunch of scrambled eggs. I went to the carving station and got a bunch of ham, and they had brisket. Threw some black beans on the plate, and just that's what I smashed. And then after that, I had a couple of pina coladas, which it wasn't a pina colada. I don't know what the hell it was. So I had a couple of those. I had a tequila, and I'm sitting by the pool with Mama, and we're having a good time. The kids are playing blitz ball, which is like a wiffle ball kind of thing without the holes in it. And wiffle balls are, for me, it's kind of a thing of the past. Blitz ball is more of like a modern version of that. You can still make the ball dance, make it move. The kids like it more. So we're out there doing that. Got Palmer, a nice Shirley Temple. So we're having a good time, but there's slides everywhere. This place is cool. It's about an hour from our house. We're going to stay here a couple nights and then head back tomorrow.
Jake, Arietta Waterpark guy. Colin, did you see that coming?
No, but based on the hat and the look right now, again, subscribe to the YouTube channel to see it. It's working for him.
Well, you think I'm going to be here without kids? I mean, you're wrong if you think that. Like, this is just it's solely for the kids. The place is called Kalahari. It's in Round Rock. It's not far from Del Diamond. Beautiful barbecue that's not far called the Salt Lick. So it's a cool place. I mean, it's just a place to sleep. But we're up, as early as possible. There's an arcade bigger than you've ever seen. They got bowling. They got a good steakhouse. So it's a cool place. But without kids, you ain't going to find me here.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly. We don't know yet.
You won't? Well, if without kids, I'd be in Vegas.
It's our 9th episode. You're at a water park. Like, evidence suggests that we're more likely to find you at a water park than we're not. So.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, I do want to bring something up. You're not the only person who traveled We talk about golf. I played Erin Hills for the first time on Friday, and no free ads, but it was just an absolute marvelous experience. 2017, host of the U.S. Open. Brooks Koepka ran through it. There's just something cool. You get to play an awesome golf course like that hosts the professionals. And I play a lot of nice golf. I think I get out to a lot of nice courses and stuff. But there's just something different about the ones that host the big boys. And it like takes your breath away when you're standing out there like 205 yards out and they're like, oh yeah, fucking DeChambeau hits pitching wedge here. You're like, holy, just so the green complexes, all that stuff. So Erin Hills, unbelievable experience.
Well, you're right. It's a different animal, especially when they're trying to get the course prepared for the big boys. They grow the rough out. It's a different ball game. And when you play a course like that, like I played a lot of golf at Butler in Chicago, and when they're getting ready for a tournament, I mean that rough, I mean it's 4 or 5 inches thick. If you're in the second cut, I mean there's no chance you're making a par. So were the conditions tough, or was it fairly easy? What'd you think of the difficulty of the course?
Oh, the wind's crazy. I mean, they've got a lot of 450-yard par fours that played over 500 yards where you're, like, literally hitting driver 5-wood and bumping, like, a 60 onto the front. I mean, it was crazy how much the wind blows up there. And then to your point, the grass gets long. There's no trees. You're not hitting into the water. There's very little clear out-of-bounds areas, but you find it in this tall grass. And, I mean, you're lucky if you can hit a 7-iron 100 yards out of the stuff. It's crazy. So good time out there, good caddy, good experience. And it's one of those places, walk only. Beast.
I like that.
Beast.
Well, and tell me what you think about this. Riding in golf carts, with one of your boys or a group of guys is cool. But I think the golf experience is just so much better when you actually walk it. You get to see more of the course. You take more of it in. It kind of slows you down a little bit. It doesn't slow down the pace of play, but you get to see just more of the beauty of the golf course. And if I had to pick one or the other, I would walk, 7 days a week. And I'm actually going to West Virginia to play. I think it was rated the second hardest golf course in the country. And from what I've heard, it's the most beautiful walk in golf. It's called Pikewood National. If you haven't heard of Pikewood, give it a look. It looks like basically they took cookie cutters of golf holes and just punched them out of the forest. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So what's your take on that? Would you rather ride or walk?
Oh, I'd rather walk. I'd much rather walk. I mean, even if I got to carry my own bag too, because I think you play better. And then if I'm riding, they're just two different experiences. Like when you're out riding and you're slamming beers and you're having a good time, the music's playing, like that's obviously a great, great time. But as I just get older and play more golf, like, yeah, I like the solitude. I like being out walking. I mean, obviously, it's cool having a caddy and talking the course and lining up putts and you're kind of working together. So it's like if I'm taking it serious and I've enjoyed taking it seriously as I've gotten older. Like I do enjoy trying to get better. Like I like going to the range. I like coming home and thinking about my putting stroke and shit. So as you bite into more stuff like that, I'd much rather walk because I think it's just a better experience. I think you play better. And speaking of playing better, I think we're ready for some headlines. How are we feeling?
Let's fly.
Are you guys ready for this? All right, yeah. I got 2 minutes. Colin, put me on the clock. I got 2 minutes. We got some stuff we're going to run through. And when I'm done with this, Jake, you're going to tell me what you want to talk about, okay?
Go for it.
Colin, on the clock. Joe Girardi is fired in Philadelphia. The Phillies then turn around. They sweep the Angels. They outscore them 26-9. It's a sad departure for Joe Girardi. We're going to get to that in a second. The Yankees are an absolute wagon, 39-15. They've got a 15-2 record on their starting rotation in May, 177 innings pitched, and 9.27 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's unbelievable stuff there. The Pirates are the best team of all time since getting swept at home by the Cardinals on May 22nd. They are 9-4 over the last 13. The Dodgers can't use a position player because they're up by 5. What is with Dave Roberts and these horrible pitching decisions? In any case, he can't use position player. The Dodgers also can't win a series against the Mets. They had an opportunity to do that after winning their first 2, then dropped the last 2. Trout, since getting called out, is hitting below 175. Meanwhile, Jose Barrios looked phenomenal, striking out a career-high 13 in 7 innings pitched over the last weekend. Noah Syndergaard has not looked good. He got his absolute shit rocked, which makes some people on this podcast very happy. One of them's got his thumb down. Jacob deGrom throws his first bullpen. Let's see that thumb back up. Keep the thumb up. Christopher Morel is sensational. He's played 20 games for the Cubs. He's reached base in all 20 of them. 19 have been starts. 10 of them have been in center field. 7 at second base. 1 at third base. The other at shortstop. This guy's fucking versatile, and he's making history. Meanwhile, Alec Bohm smashed his face open, making history for a completely different reason, the fucking idiot. Yordan Alvarez, meanwhile, got a massive contract, 6 years, 115. And Grayson Rodriguez probably won't be getting a contract. He instead got very bad news with a lat injury, out for what seems to be the year. The Cubs Cards gave us an amazing series, my own series of the year through 5 games. Cubs almost won 4 out of 5. They dropped 3 out of 5. Meanwhile, George Springer, this is probably the most interesting one to me. George Springer might have a shot at breaking a once unthinkable record. He's got 50 leadoff homers. Ricky Henderson obviously has 81. Can he hit 32 more leadoff homers? There's your top 15 rapid-fire headlines coming out of the weekend. I'm going to have a sip of this Miller Lite. Not a fucking Miller Lite show either. This is pure. This is no product placement. The guy's just thirsty.
One of the last things you talked about was the George Springer leadoff homers. George Springer's 32 years old. He's got 50. Is it 50 or 51? And let's say he's got 5 or 6 years left. I think that's conservative. I think he's got a real shot. And if you ask a lot of people, they would say that that's a record that's potentially unbreakable. And I think he's got a shot to do it. I really do.
Will he always hit?
He's got big power.
When they say leadoff homers, it has to be leadoff, like it's him leading off in the first inning, so he has to hit leadoff his career. Do you think is he the type of guy who later in his career would be like, hey, I don't want to hit 3, I have to hit 1?
Well, no, that could change things too. That's a good point. I mean, based on the construction of the lineup and the team he's with, and assuming he's going to be with the Blue Jays for a little while, he might not bat in that spot. So that could definitely change things. That's a great point. That's an absolute great point. So maybe that prevents him from getting to that to that record ultimately.
I don't think it will, though. I'm looking at it now. He's in his entire career, and this is crazy stuff. In his entire career, he's played 922 games, and I think he's let off in like 750 of them or something. So he is predominantly a leadoff hitter. To your point, the Blue Jays are building around him as a leadoff hitter. He should get the opportunities, and so it's interesting to me because like when you're for a leadoff hitter, then are you always pumping fastballs? Like I remember one time we saw a leadoff curveball, and I'll never forget it. That's how I remember it. Like it was that vivid. Zach Putnam in 2008 threw like a leadoff fucking curveball. First pitch of the game with like 15 scouts behind home plate. We just started laughing in the dugout. It's always fastball down Broadway.
Doesn't have to be. And look, if you're facing a guy like Springer, who's got 50 pumps to lead off a game, maybe you mix it up. I mean, if you're a guy that's got some nasty shit and you throw a heavy sinker with high velocity, yeah, like myself, I was going sinker first pitch of the game. I mean, 99.9% of the time. Are there certain guys that might spin a breaking ball or throw a cutter first pitch of the game? Sure. I mean, I remember I gave up a leadoff homer to Alcides Escobar in Wrigley. First pitch fastball, just it wasn't great location, and he's not a big power guy, but I threw it in the spot middle end, and he took me deep. So certain guys might opt for a breaking ball or a changeup. It just depends on, they're looking at all these numbers. What's his swing percentage first pitch of the game? Is it 60% or more? Is he dead red on the fastball? You got to take all those things into consideration, but chances are most guys are throwing fastball first pitch of the game. That's how the game has been for a long time. And, I don't see many guys straying away from that, but last thing you want to do is give up a leadoff homer and put your team down 1-0 with, one pitch into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because you're focused too, right? You're going in, everything comes into the start. Everything like leads up every 5 days, just kind of like leads up to that moment. I would imagine like the first is just like, we didn't plan on that. But now the other part of this equation is Ricky Henderson. How sweet is he relative to you as someone who's done, like in the pantheon of former players? Like, he walks in any clubhouse, he's got to be, like, one of the coolest, sweetest guys, right?
Has to be. And, I mean, the speech that he gave after he broke the record for stolen bases, I think it's one of the best of all time. What do you say? Today, I'm the greatest of all time. And that's just, you can't beat that. I mean, he picks up the bass, he holds it in the air, and just one of the best things ever. And a quick Ricky Henderson story. I don't know if you've heard this. I heard this like years and years ago. They're going on a road trip, and Ricky gets on the bus, and there's somebody in his seat, and one of the other guys on the bus says, "Hey, Ricky, like you got tenure, like tell him to move out of your seat." And Ricky goes, "Tenure? Ricky got 15 years." I'm like, "Oh Jesus." So, I mean, Ricky's great. I haven't talked to him really or spent much time with him, but I'd love to. I'm sure he's got some stories for days for you.
It seems like every time we do a show, it's like we come out with another golden goose for the guest list, but I'm putting Ricky Henderson on there. He's like in my top 10 now. Just thinking about the stories. My buddy's dad, rest in peace, played with Ricky Henderson for just a month. He got called up just for a month with the Oakland A's when Billy Martin was managing him. And he just had great stories about how Ricky Henderson went out of his way to in that month to make him feel welcome more than any other players on the team. And he said that was part of like the superstar mentality and the way Ricky carried himself, where he thought maybe Ricky wasn't like that with other guys on the team, like established teammates, but because he was new, to your point, being on the bus, hey, he got tenure. The stories I heard about Ricky Henderson on the bus was like, yo, I got a spot for you, dude. Come here, I want to talk to you, stuff like that. And I also heard with accuracy that it's true he framed $1 million check or something crazy like that.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Maybe not. Maybe it's cash.
He made a bunch of money. Well, maybe he got direct deposit. They didn't do it at the time, but
fuck no.
I'm sure he had the check. He had the cash or whatever in his bank account. He probably just threw it up on the wall. Come on, there's no way. He made good money. He didn't make enough to let $1 million go to waste on his wall. No chance.
All right. If I get that story verified,
we'll find out.
I don't know. We got to work on something.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw another one at you. I'm going to throw another one that I'm interested in hearing you about. Did you catch any Dodgers Mets stuff? What a great series.
I did. I saw a lot of it. Cooper's best friend, his name's Grayson. He's a diehard Dodgers fan. He started out just as a Mookie Betts fan. And when Mookie got traded to the Dodgers, he completely went all in Dodgers. And, I respect that. I saw that, they got shut out the Mets got shut out for the first time all season. I didn't know that. And at the time, I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty incredible. So to only be shut out did they get shut out more in that series or just that one time?
Colin?
Just once. So Colin, what do you got on that? I mean, being shut out, however many games into the season for the first time, against the Dodgers. If you're going to get shut out, not a bad team to shut you out. 50 games in, only being shut out once, pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this team continues to surprise me. I'll get more into it a little bit later in Colin's Corner, but I was a little nervous at first. But, they came around, so we got another couple big series ahead of us here, and we'll try and make a statement.
I like that. And I will give credit to the Mets coming back. You drop those first two, to your point. You get shut out, you come back, you score one more run. The Dodgers, they pitch so well, it's so tough to beat them at home. Come back, you hang 14 the last two games. That's some good resiliency. That's some good shit. The Mets, dude, it's like I just want to discount them because I want to see Colin sad. I want to fuck with them, and they just keep bouncing back. Colin, we will get to your corner. We are going to get to your corner. Did you see?
Okay, I was going to say, I'll just get into it now if you want me to because...
Yeah, fuck it. We're in your corner.
Throw them in the corner.
So, yeah, just like Jake said, came into L.A. Huge series here. This is looking like a potential NLCS matchup. And the Mets go down the first two games. Like I said, I was super nervous. The bats they were just dead. I mean, you could barely even get a guy to second base. Saturday night, they win 9-4. That was a nice statement win. The bats seemed like they were back. Everything felt like it was the same old Mets again. And then they come and having a fantastic game yesterday. I mean, but on both sides, it was just, like Carl said, an amazing series. It was so much fun to watch. Definitely playoff atmosphere and everything there. That's what I was going to say. I was curious to see where they're going to land on your guys' power rankings this week. I don't know how you don't have the Mets at number 2 at this point behind the Yankees. I'm fine with that, even though the Yankees haven't played anyone. But moving on, we're going to San Diego there through Wednesday. Then we head to the Angels, who absolutely stink. And then the series I'm really looking forward to is next week against the Brewers. I think this is another prove-it moment for the Mets right now. They did it with LA, splitting the series, and now they have the chance to really make a big statement. And they left LA number one team in the National League.
It'll be nice to see how they do against the Padres rotation. If that offense can really produce against them, it'll be fun to watch, which I think they can. But San Diego definitely has some nice starters for them.
Yeah, I also want to say too, I know it's not going unspoken, everyone knows this, but we just split a series with the Dodgers with Trevor Williams and David Peterson on the mound. Like, if you give me Jacob deGrom back and Max Scherzer in that series in the NLCS, it's over. It's over.
Well, that's what good teams do. And being on a good team will elevate your performances a lot of the time. If you're just a kind of the middle of the road starter, you're playing on a team like the Mets, you'll tend to perform a little bit better than you're expected to.
I want to circle back to the Angels for a second. They've lost 11 in a row. We've sucked their dick a lot on the show. We talked about their pitching. That anytime you get these guys a sliver of pitching, that lineup's going to deliver for you. They've dropped 11 in a row. Is Joe Maddon's job in jeopardy?
Man, I doubt it. It's tough because, at one point in time, how many games up were they in the division? They were at least, 2 games up or something like that. And now they're 8.5 games back of the Astros. And I said this from the get-go that, that division has to go through Houston. And it's more evident now than ever. But who knows what's going on in Anaheim? I mean, maybe Tommy Pham had a bigger hand in the matter than we thought, but they're not looking good at all right now. I can't believe they've lost 11 straight.
Yeah, and the way they're losing them, that game against the Phillies yesterday, if you caught it, the Bryce Harper grand slam, an amazing moment for the Phillies. And since I said they fired Joe Girardi, they've won 3 in a row. They absolutely pounded the Angels 26-9 in that series. And then the Stock kid, a first rounder, 19th overall, a shortstop from, somebody tell me, Washington? UNLV. Yeah, UNLV. Yep. Okay. He's sweet, man. Good hair. Hit his first walk-off bomb. Hasn't really it started a little slow. So I want to be respectful. Now I'm learning more about how to talk about you guys. I don't want to just say you guys suck to start out of the gate. But he's been a little slow, and we'll see if he gets some pop, man. The Phillies and the Braves, I would just like to see somebody get hot and get going. The Braves don't look bad either. I have some awards I want to give out. Do you guys want to give out some awards?
I like the awards. Yeah, let's give some awards out.
And someone's going to kill me. They're going to say, hey, Carl, you just said Roberts. I know, Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds, good Vanderbilt kid. Okay, award season. Dude of the week, Yordan Alvarez. This one's easy, all right? This one's so easy because when you sign a 6-year, $115 million contract extension with your 3 last years for $26 million apiece, and then you go out and you go 13 for 23 with 4 big boys, fucking 12-17 slugging. The Astros are hot. And we're talked about George Springer, the people leaving. I don't give a shit about the scandal stuff anymore. I don't give a fuck about what's going on with the Astros. And, you can't trust this guy because of spider tack and this guy because of this and that, sign stealing or whatever. Yordan Alvarez absolutely fucking rakes. Big boy's going to be here for a while. It's like a left-handed Frank Thomas. I don't mean that. I know people are going to get mad I just said that. I don't mean he's a left-handed Frank Thomas, but he reminds me of Frank Thomas if Frank Thomas was left-handed.
Well, I look at him as like a David Ortiz type of bat.
Oh,
this guy's just going to flat out hit. It's a big contract. It's not, they're not overspending by any means. I think he's well worth the deal. If he's closer to free agency or a free agent, he's getting much more money than that. There's not many right-handed pitchers in the major leagues that want to face that guy. So he's a potent bat with enormous power who's done some amazing things for the Astros, and he's going to continue to do so. I love that signing. Love that signing.
Yeah, and I like that word. Like, potent is a perfect way to describe him. I mean, he really is. He's on fire, man. They're good. They're a good squad. Obviously, they're a good squad. They went 5-1 over the last 6 this past week, largely behind his efforts. Congratulations, him. Jordan Alvarez, Dude of the Week, Bag of the Week. Do you want to do this one, Colin? This seems like a partial one to you Mets guys.
All right, you can do it. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Adonis Medina. Adonis Medina is our Bag of the Week. Balls the size of my head. He comes in runner on second base. He gets Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Will Smith all out with a runner on second for his first big league save. Hey, speaking of shirts, that looks like a Rollback shirt, and that reminds me of our good friends over at Rollback. It's just quality products, guys. We talk about Rollback. You got to try them out if you haven't heard of them. There's only one way to describe them. It's the best fit, it's the best feel, and it's the perfect gift for Father's Day. Jake obviously brings up his kids when it's convenient when he's defending himself, but we're going to bring up the kids again because Father's Day is around the corner, and I know P and Coop are going to be coming around with some strong performance polos, ones that are breathable with moisture wicking and epic patterns. I encourage you guys, go online, check out some of the patterns. They also have performance and hoodies. We know those play now. If you want to get out of the golf course, too, a little performance hoodie on the course that plays. And speaking of performance, let's talk Q-Zips, great for the course or the stands while cheering on your favorite team. Obviously, I love Rollback. Guys like me that look like me have to look good in clothes. We need partnerships when it comes to attire, and that's why I like Rollback.
We need partnerships, and it takes Carl from a 4 to a 6.
Yep,
it's a big fucking deal. And if you like dogs, Rollback. It's Rhodesian Ridgeback. I don't even know if you knew that, Carl. Have you seen the logo? I'm a dog guy. I've got a field retriever. Rhodesian Ridgeback was number 2 or 3 on our list. They're slightly aggressive, which I like. But when you have 6 or 7 kids at the house all the time, you got to be careful. But yes, Rollback. It's a great company, especially when I'm playing golf in 105-degree weather all the time. You need shirts that are moisture wicking and comfortable. Rollback delivers every time.
Moisture wicking, because
people
don't like the word moist. They want it wicked. So, all right, new releases come out just in time for Father's Day. Go to rollback.com. Use the code STARTING for 20% off your first order. Wow, that's a big one. 20% is a big one. That's spelled RHOBACK.com for 20% off all performance polos, Q-Zips, tees, and hoodies with code STARTING. Rollback.com. Fuck, you brought something up I wanted to go into just then.
Well, there's something I need to get off my chest.
Are we doing a trust exercise?
No, not necessarily. No, I have to talk about, the TCU Texas A&M regional. Just briefly. I was torn. My head coach, Jim Schlossnagle, is now the head guy at A&M. I went to TCU. Kirk Sarlos is the new guy there. I love them both. Texas A&M ended up coming out of that regional. They're going to host a super. Texas A&M and TCU squared off yesterday. TCU had the lead. They had the lead. They ended up giving up 5 in the 7th inning. They scored 5 in the bottom of the 7th. They hit a 2-run go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 8th. Then they allowed Texas A&M to score 7 runs in the 9th inning. I didn't necessarily know who to root for. I was going for TCU, but I want to see Schlossnagle do well. His first year with the program, he's done an amazing job. Just a tough day. And one thing that stood out for me in these regionals, and you could chime in if you saw much of it. I mean, just the amount of or the lack of pitching in some of these regionals was pretty overwhelming. Some of these games are like 25-15 and 30-10. Like where are the arms at? And maybe I'm being a little harsh on these college guys, but I expected a little bit more out of the arms in these regionals. Did you see much of that? And were you surprised by the scores in these games?
So I think that's really like the differentiator. Why there's usually when you go into the college baseball postseason when there's there's probably 6 or 7 really solid teams per year that have full bullpens, 3 quality starters. You have your Friday night guys, usually the veteran. Your Saturday guys, usually kind of like the freshman or the sophomore that's got high draft potential. And then your Sunday's usually like a 5th-year senior guy who's been around for a while, who's got like a really dirty changeup or like a good curveball or something. And it's crazy to think that despite all of the college baseball programs and the number of college baseball players there are, just how hard it is to find good quality pitching in college. And I don't think it's because the pitching isn't good as much as it is the hitters are just that much better at that point. Like, I think college hitters are like, and especially, metal bat, wood bat, whatever you want. I don't give a shit about the bats. I just feel like at that point, the reps at a player's career are much more advantageous to the position players that have been out their entire careers playing every day, as opposed to the pitchers that are still kind of like, because a pitcher really doesn't figure their shit out until much later. Where some of these hitters, I mean, they're as good now at hitting as they'll be the rest of their life.
You're right about that. I mean, the level of talent from the hitting department is through the roof. I mean, some of these guys, I mean, they look like professional hitters. Watching A&M's lineup, watching Stanford against one of my best friends, Stephen Trout, who's the head coach at Texas State. They have to play again tonight in the the win or go home game. I think Stanford is one of the best lineups in the country and the number 2 national seed. And I had the privilege of talking to Levi Wells, who started against Stanford in the first game they played. They ended up winning that game. He's a really, really nice arm. But, for the most part, I see these guys going out there nibbling early in the count, not getting ahead, putting these hitters in counts where all they can do is dial in on a fastball in one spot. And that's the separator from college to professional baseball, is the ability to throw off speed for strikes early in the count and then locate a fastball. And, maybe I'm kind of biased and I expect a little bit more from these guys, but, as you said, pitching at that level and into the next level is still very difficult. And, but there are prerequisites that you have to have before you can, do certain things as a pitcher. And I'm just not seeing enough strikes early in the count. And that's why these potent hitters are having so much success, is because they're always in hitter friendly counts.
Yeah. Yeah. The college mentality of coming in and being like, you have to be perfect because, a lot of these guys go in there like, all right, well, if I'm a good college starter, I'll get 25 starts before I go to the big leagues. And, people want to see velocity, and the scouts show up to see the big arms and stuff. And I think the culture in of itself around the college game does not lend itself to like quality pitchers, which is why you find a lot of the quality pitchers are those 5th-year seniors that have absolutely no prospects of making it to the major leagues. Maybe guys that could play Double-A or whatever, but guys that fall, 25th round draft picks and stuff, or don't even get drafted, that just come up culturally and know how to throw several pitches in college games, and you'll find these guys. I mean, the perfect example is Dallas Keuchel. Dallas Keuchel is, I shouldn't say the perfect example because he wasn't a 5th-year senior, but like, I know he went high enough to develop and become a Cy Young and get paid a ton of money, and I know he's in the news for getting DFA and all this stuff, but if you go back to when Dallas Keuchel was in college, he was throwing 87 sinkers and throwing 150 innings a year for Arkansas and just going out and just fucking grinding. And you can see these, like, there are bulldogs like that across college baseball, but there's usually just one on a college team they pitch on Friday nights. If you could have every pitcher from Friday night was like your quality of starter, like in the big leagues, where it's like there is obviously discrepancy between your number 1 and your number 5, but the discrepancy between a Friday night guy and like the 5th starter for a college team is unbelievable. It would shock people. It's more drastic than the high school team.
It's way more drastic. And with guys like Keuchel and a lot of these arms in college baseball right now, especially from regional to super regional in the College World Series, it's the ability to locate. I mean, you hit, or you've seen hitting right at high levels, and you understand 90 down the middle versus 90 on the corner. It's night and day. And Keuchel, fell into, a period of time where he was not locating his pitches. He doesn't overpower anybody. And if a crafty guy like that loses feel and loses his command, I mean, he's got no chance to have success. I mean, you can't bank on guys mishitting the ball, every single time. I mean, it's just not going to happen. When major league hitters are geared up for super high velocity, and then when they get a guy that's throwing 88 to 90 miles an hour and he misses over the plate, I mean, those balls get whacked. I mean, you're not getting that ball back. And if you do that for an extended period of time, you're going to find yourself DFA'd. And, Keuchel's been great for a long time, but, with stuff like he has, if you don't command the ball, you're just not going to last very long at all.
Yep. Nope, and he's got his own thing going. He's out with the Diamondbacks now. I like the Diamondbacks. I'm sure Madison Bumgarner's going to have a tip for him. But back to College World Series talk. I remember when we were youngsters, we were out there running around. Those South Carolina teams, man, Jackie Bradley Jr. and what is it, like Mike Moore, Matt Moore, or who's the fucking lefty? Man, were there some good teams on South Carolina. Michael Roth, holy shit. I think they won back-to-back. They were in the College World Series seemingly every year. And then Ray Tanner went from being the head coach, to the athletic director or something. You want to talk about a glow-up success story there. College baseball coach to being the SEC athletic director is absolutely insane to me. Who are some of, like, when you think of, like, your time in college, who are when you're, like, classic college baseball teams? TCU, you had them on the schedule, whether it was in conference or out of conference, circled. You're like, this one means a lot.
Colin, what do you got, man?
Sorry, Jake, are you cooking a pen?
I'm opening my switchblade.
Oh, yeah, try not to do that.
What the fuck, dude?
Should I close it?
Dude,
just don't. I keep hearing the click.
Sorry, guys. Fuck. All right. I'll leave it open. All right.
Why do you have a switchblade? You're at a water park.
Dude, I got a knife on me at all times. You don't know. You never know. But look. All right.
Leave that in, please, just so people get like, you need to hear this.
All right. We're trying to talk college baseball. It's my fault. I'm opening the knife and closing it. I fidget. Kids have fidget spinners and all the stupid pop-it shit. I have a switchblade.
Do not bring your kids back into this. Your kids have nothing to do with
the door's locked. The kids aren't coming. Okay. Look, when I was fortunate enough in 2006 to play on the collegiate national team, and then 2008 I played on the Olympic team. So I played with guys from Vanderbilt. I played with Pedro Alvarez. I played with David Price. I got to play Jamile Weeks from Miami, JP Aaron Sebia from Tennessee. I played with Matt Laporta, like some of the big boys. Cole St. Clair, closer from Rice. Joe Savory didn't play with us, but he was. Those are some of the guys that I played with and that I remember as being some of the big boys. And David Price was, I think he went 1-1, obviously, and he had a crazy ending to his college career. They played Austin Peay in the regional, and somebody hit a walk-off. I think a true freshman ended up hitting a walk-off homer off David Price in the regional to send Vanderbilt home.
It was a Michigan guy. I know that because I'm a Big Ten guy and I remember it. It was, or maybe it was David Price came out of the pen. Michigan. Oh, those were some good, solid teams. And as you say that, it's like, I never went to the NCAA tournament. 4 years. Every year we showed up. We were like, we can go to the NCAA tournament if we play our best baseball. And we never went. 1 year we came close where they made us go to a selection show thing and cameras, and we didn't get picked as an at-large.
Oops.
And it sucked. And I guess having that experience really changed the way I looked at the NCAA basketball tournament. It's just like, before I'd be like, dude, who cares? Whatever, you're fucking 15. It is like, the guys that go to a regional from teams that know they're not going to Omaha, 15 years later are walking around being like, yeah, I went to that regional in 06. Like, it just means so much because it's such a team accomplishment. And it's so hard because there's so many programs that are baked into, there's 35 programs at the start of the year, hey, they're going to the college. They're going to the tournament. Doesn't matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It's the other 25, 30 teams where you have these kids from – Midwest schools and northern schools and stuff that get a chance.
Well, and look at when we had Kevin Gosman on, a couple of weeks ago. They got knocked out of the Super Regional by I can't even remember the team.
Stony Brook.
But they probably, they had a great year. But did anybody think they were actually going to get past the LSU Tigers in that Super Regional? And then I believe they went 2-0 in the College World Series. But think about how cool that fucking story is for those guys. Getting to the Super Regional in itself, amazing. Winning that regional, playing LSU, but then to actually get to Omaha and going 2-0 sucks. But I mean, that's something that I guarantee you everybody on that Stony Brook team is going to tell their friends and family. And it's like an Uncle Rico thing, right? That story is going to live on for those guys forever, as it should.
And we will be in Omaha in a couple weeks. You'll be making your debut. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be an unbelievable time. Colin, are you nervous for this Omaha trip? Excited? What are you feeling?
No, I'm super pumped. Honestly, I'm not a huge college baseball guy. I've gotten more into it recently, and I've heard just nothing but fantastic things about this tournament, the location. So I'm really excited.
It's going to be a blast, man. And some of my best friends are guys that I played in college with. And when I talk to teams, whether it's like I told you, one of my best friends is a coach at Texas State. Where if I'm talking to their pitchers or whoever, that's one of the things that I just try and reiterate to them is these are moments that you'll never forget. These are some of the closest relationships that you'll ever have. So that dynamic and trying to just enjoy it as much as you possibly can, because man, you blink or you snap your fingers, it feels like it's over. So to kind of take in the moment as much as they can, and just being a spectator and just watching this sort of stuff transpire and develop, and knowing that these kids are going to be, a lot of them are going to be lifelong friends. It's memories that they're never going to forget, and that we're never going to forget, just watching it kind of all unfold. So I really look forward to us all being out there and spending some time together and watching some good college baseball.
Hell yeah, dude. Seriously, I just got a little just the boys just out having a couple cold ones, watching baseball, and it's a magical environment there. One thing I do before we wrap up college baseball talk, one thing that's really interesting about college baseball that is similar to college football and basketball, but I think is overlooked just because people don't pay attention to college baseball, is you guys are watching these tournament games and stuff. I mean, most of those players know who on their team has a shot to make it to the big leagues. And draft's coming up, and it's after the College World Series now. And, it's crazy how much you cheer for your college teammates when they get to pro ball. I bookmarked all my guys 3 years above, years below me. It was one of my, it wasn't even an obligation or a duty. It was just second nature to get up in the morning during the minor league season and check the box scores for the boys, and then send out the text messages to be like, dude, saw the radio stream last night, or caught a little bit of the game last night, and now I just kind of get the chills thinking about the College World Series coming up, and just those guys do know on the squad, all right, fucking Tommy or Joey or whatever. It's just sweet, dude. It's just a sweet environment. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, you feel part of it. You have buddies that were drafted and played pro ball, and I was on the other side of it. I was getting texts from guys that I played college with or high school or even in the minor leagues, and always pulling for me. And it's awesome. And there are times where, I might not have gotten back to them because it's 3 a.m. and they text me at 7 when I'm pitching. But just seeing those texts is awesome. And the support. And I kind of feel the same way with my buddy Steven Trout, who's coaching Texas State, playing Stanford right now. I'm sending him texts during the game and, post game. And not that I expect to get an answer right away, but just I want him to know that I'm pulling for him. And no, I'm here for the boys and doing everything I can to kind of support them and so on. So it is awesome, and it's kind of a sad thing, watching some of these games, knowing that most of the players on these college teams, when the regional's over and they don't advance, sadly most of them are playing their last baseball game ever, and that's a very emotional time for all of them, knowing that they're never going to be able to put that uniform on again. And that's something that I tell Cooper's team all the time, and say, hey, you never know. And I'll grab one of the kids' jerseys. I'll say, hey, you never know when somebody's going to take this away from you. And it's a weird time to say that when they're 10 years old. But my point is, when you're out there, give everything you got and become as good of a player as you possibly can, because at some point you're not going to get to put that jersey on again.
I love this shit. Fucking love this game. It just gets me so fired up, dude. Because I know. I mean, I vividly remember, getting on the bus after Indiana, and I don't know. So this is a time of year. I know, major league season. We're in the middle of it. We're in the thick of it. there's, you see this, you see that, this series, this sweep. I'm going to go through the standings in a second here, but like, to me, when I think about starting nine and kind of what type of show, and we got to rename this fucking thing, but it's not just Major League Baseball, because Major League Baseball is one big piece of baseball that obviously we all know and love, and like the history of it and stuff. But the game itself is just so much bigger. Like, there's just so much more to baseball than just like, oh, we fucking didn't win a World Series this year. This guy stinks. He only hit 256, and this guy's contract. And it's just like so much of it's bullshit. And like people that actually played it got to live their experience, their life through it, go on these trips, go to places, build relationships through the game and stuff. There's just so much more to it than, what a fucking guy's getting free agency and what's the next trade? It's just like everybody just calm the fuck down for a second. So if you're listening to this and you aren't into college baseball, I would highly encourage just give it a glance. You have to be an expert.
Well, and a lot of these kids are going to be part of the fans' favorite team eventually. So, I think it behooves you to at least pay attention a little bit. And if you went to one of these schools, it's a little bit easier to pay attention to an SEC, ACT, ACC, Pac-12, whoever your team was. But even if you didn't, go to a big school, the team that you pull for could be drafting some of these players. So it's kind of cool to see them kind of before they get into that pro ball environment and see what they were like as a college baseball player. Because the dynamic in college baseball is just so much different, in college versus minor leagues, major leagues. When a guy hits a home run, the team, kind of greets the guy outside the dugout, and they're kind of doing team celebrations. That's kind of cool shit that doesn't happen, at the big league level. And yeah, is it a little bit more professional or whatever? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. I just think that what's riding on every game. And like I said before, some of these kids could be playing their last fucking game in that uniform. So there's so much more riding. The stakes are so much higher for these kids. And I think as a baseball fan in general, it's just so cool to see the passion and the energy that goes into each one of these college games.
Do you remember in Game 7 of the World Series, you went out to the bullpen to warm up and you'd pitch
I was
Game
out
6?
there. Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, so that's a crazy circumstance in your career, right? Like it takes what? It takes Game 7 of the fucking Cubs, 108. But I don't need to say it. You got it. Game 7, right? You're going out to the bullpen, extras, whatever. Like there are going to be so many kids over the next, so many of these college pitchers, once they get to super regionals in Omaha, they're like, fuck it, I pitched last time, I'm doing it. Like that feeling where they're telling the coach, I don't give a shit, we'll skip the bullpen. Hey, I know I'm supposed to go in the third round. I know I'm already at 100 innings on a season. Coach, I'll pitch till my arm falls off. And those are some of my favorite like sports like level up moments where a pitcher's like, I don't give a fuck, I'll go.
Well,
right now.
it's for the team. That's plain and simple. And you're running off adrenaline at that point. Say it's a good comparison with the Super Regional or the College World Series. I threw 100 pitches or around 100 pitches, but I told Joe, look, I'm gonna be down in the bullpen if you need me. Like regardless of what you say, what anyone says, I'm gonna be down there. And if I need to get 1 out, 2 outs, 3 outs, I'll be down there for the boys. And just the motivation isn't thinking about what it's going to look like to your teammates. It's the fact that if a situation arises where I'm needed, I'm ready for it. And again, yeah, would I have thrown multiple innings? Probably not. But if I have to come in a big situation to get one guy out, you better believe I'm going to be ready for that situation.
Damn, man. The moments this game can bring out of an athlete, obviously, when you get to the big stage, those big moments, you play all season, you do all the prep work, you mix in spring training and the postseason, you get to that moment, it's like over 200 games. Right now, though, for the Major League season, we're in the thick of it, guys. We're about a third of the way through the year, and the standings it's kind of grim to go through the standings. It's very similar to the last time we talked standings. There's just such a lead here in the East, in the West, in the American League. The Central's kind of – it's like a swamp. We talked before about the White Sox and the Guardians and the Twins and just I mean, I feel like every time we do standings check, we don't do the standing check a month from now, I'll still have the same sentiment that the AL Central is just the AL Central is like a car accident. Like you just want to keep driving, you don't want to pay attention to it, but like you have to stop, and the more you look at it, the more like the slower you're driving. It's just ugly. Like, oh, there's dead bodies.
Yeah, it's
Clean
just
'em
kind of
up.
stale. Like there's really nothing happening outside of the Twins continuing to play pretty good baseball, and we're kind of always waiting for the White Sox or the Indians to kind of make a move, and it just doesn't seem to happen.
Yep. So keep an eye on the White Sox. They have a couple. They got a tough series coming up. They got the Dodgers in town, and they get to some series preview too. And then if you go over to the National League, I mean, I can't suck the Mets' dick hard enough to make Colin happy, but 8.5 games, you might as well just get. It's over, Colin. You guys won.
Again, a little early in the season, but I think we wrapped the division up on May 31st, and it feels pretty good.
I can't disagree with that. There's just nothing else you could say. I mean, the Braves, you keep waiting for them to do something. The Phillies are kind of in shambles. Maybe they showed some signs of life, but for whatever reason, that roster can't put together enough wins, and the bullpen's not throwing the ball well. And then Miami, who knows what's going on there? I feel like they're a pretty damn good ball team, but not near good enough to catch the Mets. That's for sure.
Yeah, culturally, I think the Marlins still have some work to do. Just seems like every time you talk about the Marlins, there's always just like change going on. There's always people coming, people going, money coming in, money coming out, contracts, trades. A little stability probably goes a long way there. We're kind of getting to the point though where you're going to start, targeting obviously trade destinations, the Orioles, the Athletics, the Cubs. Are the Mariners? Is there anybody the Mariners want to trade? They look like absolute dog shit. You just look around like another one, the Royals. Whit Merrifield hasn't been good, but he plays the infield. He plays the outfield. He's starting to heat up a little bit. He can swipe a bag. So, like, trade season is upon us. There's about 15 teams that are going to be looking to trade, and there's going to be about 15 teams that are going to be looking to not do shit. Hopefully your team is making trades. It's like a significantly – anybody ever talks about it, it's like – one good spot to be in and one bad spot to be in. If you are making trades at the trade deadline, it is awesome. If you are selling people at the trade deadline, it fucking stinks.
Yeah, it stinks, but then how many times do teams that are trading at the deadline get some huge prospects that end up, turning out to be big pieces and mainstays in that lineup or in the rotation or the bullpen for years to come? I mean, I've been a part of it. And as bad as it sucked at the time, because you never want to sell off and be a part of a team who's openly not trying to make the playoffs. But then again, if you get huge pieces for your team for the next year or the years into the future, I mean it could absolutely work out. I mean, in the short term it sucks, but then if you're looking forward to the next 12 to 24 months, could end up being a very bright spot for the organization.
And not to go on a whole, I don't want to complain. I don't want to climb on a soapbox and bitch. It just, if you guys win 62 games or you guys win 102 games, the tickets at Wrigley Field still cost just as much. Like, nothing changes about the experience aspect other than, like, the play isn't good. But that's where, like, the point of being a fan and, like, being patient comes in. And if you care day to day and you think that the team should be winning a World Series every year, you're going to be extremely miserable as you go through. I would suppose just go through life.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it before. Only one team wins it every year, and it's rarely. It's not spread around the league as most people would like. It's not like 1 through 30 get it, and then it rolls over to the next team. It's
trust me, I know.
Yeah, so it's like a handful of teams or 10 teams seem to win the fucking thing every year, which is unfortunate for 20 or so fan bases. But again, I mean, if you look at, and I would assume that it's similar in most of the major sports. You have a handful of owners that are committed to winning and will spend the money and do what it takes to put the right, player development personnel in place. And again, I keep talking about player development, but that's as crucial as spending money on free agents as anything else. If you bring these guys in and you can't figure out how to turn them into high quality major league players, then you're screwed. You just flat out are. And I've seen it many times where you have unbelievable talent that just ends up not panning out.
Well, let that be a lesson for the Chicago Cubs as they, as they go through their stuff. There's a guy on the Cubs that is being developed that I do like that I want to talk about on that note. But briefly, just run through a couple series here. Here's my 5 look-aheads for the week. We've got the Mets at San Diego. That's not as hard for traveling since they're coming from they're already on the West Coast. We've got the Cubs in New York playing the Yankees. We've got the Dodgers in Chicago playing the White Sox. We also have the Dodgers then in San Francisco playing the Giants, and the Cards at the Rays. I like that one a lot. I don't know why. I just like the Cards at the Rays. Between these 5, Jake or Colin. Well, no, I know obviously Colin's going to say the Padres series, but Jake, anything out of these 5 that you like?
Well, I think I'm going to go with Colin on this one. I like the Mets and the Padres. I love seeing playoff type series early in the season, and I just think it's better TV. It kind of gives the fan base a taste, a premature taste of what it's going to be like in the postseason. It's a good gauge for where the Mets really stand, and they had a very similar series with the Dodgers already. So going into San Diego and playing a team like that, it's gonna let you further see where the offense stands up against a good rotation like the Padres have. And I think they've got a really good chance of winning that series. But again, it's also an opportunity for the Padres to kind of show what they're really capable of. And what are they, 2 or 3 games behind the Dodgers in that division? It's going to be a dogfight to the end in the NL West, and I hope it is because it's good for the game, and it's also good for both of those teams to continue to fight and to continue to have challenges. In kind of the middle part of the summer, and let's face it, this month and the next month are probably the most difficult months of the season when things seem to kind of drag on a little bit. You get periods of time where you don't have many off days and it's 100 degrees in some of these cities. So, it's a good challenge for both of those teams. And, the Mets, Padres is probably my favorite series coming up.
I like that. I think people are sleeping on the Padres. Just see them lose every year to the Dodgers, like year after year in the division where they play well and then they fall apart at the end. I think there's some public perception here that like the Padres will always play little brother to the Dodgers. So interesting follow up from the Dodgers. We're gonna stay on the Dodgers. The Dodgers at Giants is interesting to me. The fan contention between the Dodgers and the Giants is so high. I'm curious in when you're playing, would there's the fight breaks out in the stands and all that stuff, or the players are running on the field like, oh, we're going to Boston, like there's probably going to be a fight in the stands this week, or like we're going to St. Louis, there's probably going to be a fight, or does that not ever make its way in the clubhouse?
No, I mean, we see it. I mean, you definitely see it. There were times where, we'd be in the dugout where there's a game where I wasn't pitching, you'd see something break out in the stands, and you never want to see that. I mean, it's a pretty unfortunate situation when especially when there's a bunch of kids in the stands and you've got fucking grown men and grown women, punching each other in the face. It's like, what are you doing? We understand you're passionate about your team and someone's talking shit from the opposing team, but you've got your fucking kids sitting right next to you. Like, figure it out. And, a story years ago where a Giants fan was basically beaten to death by Dodgers fans. Like, it's just things get taken a little too far, and a little shit talk is great. You want to see it. It's funny. It's good for the game. It's fun for the fans. But when things start to get physical, then it's just it's a little too much for me. And I think both of you guys would probably agree with that.
Oh, 100%, dude. No fight in the bleachers. That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
I just – in the fan-on-fan stuff, too, like you see 2 Dodgers fans fight each other. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What are you guys arguing about? The lineup? What are you guys arguing about? The bullpen? What the fuck's going on? I'm also interested to see Jock Peterson play in the series. I think Jock Peterson, I don't know what props are or anything. Go to the Barstool Sportsbook app, but like this is a good opportunity for Jock to stay hot, right?
It is. Yeah. And, I'm pretty sure that Jock's been eating a shit ton of dairy-free ice cream. Like I think on the flights, he'd eat 2 pints. I think his favorite was cookies and cream, but he's a big dairy-free guy. Loves his ice cream. He would always unbuckle his belt, get very comfortable, and just go to town on some dairy-free cookies and cream.
So no disrespect to Jock Peterson, but I am surprised to hear that he's dairy-free. Doesn't look like a dairy-free guy. He's got a very milky face. Like he looks like a guy who just loves a glass of whole milk.
Oh, hey, he's dairy-free. Hey, he doesn't sit well. Dairy doesn't sit well with him. Me neither. Okay.
No.
But I'm smashing Dippin' Dots as soon as I leave here. Promise you that.
Okay, that's a Waterpark dessert.
It's a water. It was supposed to be ice cream of the future. It hasn't really taken off. It's like you only see it at water parks. Why is that? You don't have to answer that.
I was gonna say clientele.
I guess, but it's still surviving slightly.
Cotton candy at a water park. That's a dangerous proposition.
It's out here. It's absolutely out here. So many bad bodies are out here too. It's just kind of a disappointment.
Does that upset? It's got to upset you. That has to put you in a weird, like mentally, where you just want to like train some of these people.
Well,
right?
No, I really don't want to train these people. I just would wish they would have a little bit more like pride in the way they look. It's not too much to ask, just a little sense of pride, especially if you're going to put on a thong and walk around Kalahari.
Well, a lot of people got jobs, man.
Well, I would assume everybody has a fucking job, Carl. You need to have a job, but you also need to take care of yourself.
It's at what point, all right, I want to get to another Cubs player, but we're here, and I'm never going to turn down this opportunity. But, like, at what point when you were playing is your physique, as a guy who's known for a physique, who's talking about other people's bad physiques, did it transcend from I'm doing this so I could be good at baseball to I'm doing this because I want to have, like, sick abs?
Both. I mean, there is a sense of vanity there, but everybody wants to look good. Who doesn't want to look good? For the majority of my life, it was just like I dedicated a lot of my time to training, and I kind of fell in love with it. So some of it is because you want to look good. Majority of it was because I wanted to perform well, and a lot of it just became lifestyle choices. And having kids now, I want them to develop the same sort of lifestyle choices that I have. And that's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, and do you have to have a great body to perform well? No, not necessarily, but it definitely helps. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of split between vanity reasons and also being an athlete. Majority of my life, it required me to do certain things, and a portion of that, meant that I had to train quite often. And then let's be honest, a majority of looking good is diet. You can work out every day of your life for 2 or 3 hours a day, but if you eat like shit, it's gonna kind of cancel itself out. So you gotta do both.
For those of you listening to the show that are committed to the journey that we are on, that we're going to be going through with the new Start at 9 with Jake and I got a feeling this isn't going to be the second to last time we talk about this stuff. There's going to be some good stuff coming, particularly in the off season. We tease like a doctor and stuff. I'm excited to get into like the, kind of the weird side. Let's go back to baseball real quick before we close down the Tuesday show. You brought this guy up. I want to talk about him. We're going to do some more stuff Thursday, nostalgic. I've got some metal bat stuff I want to talk about, maybe some baseball movie stuff. But let's close with some just good, hard, solid pitcher talk. And let's keep it real close to home for me. I like Keegan Thompson a lot. I like watching Keegan Thompson compete. I like his stuff. I like that he's an SEC kid from Auburn. I like that he'll pitch an inning if you need him. You want him to pitch 4, he'll do it. Now he's converting to a starter. His curveball's nasty. And at every level Keegan Thompson's pitched at, where they've recorded statistics that I can look up, he's been absolutely impossible to hit consistently. I'm a huge Keegan Thompson fan. And I also like the fact, I like his size. He's not one of these big dominant guys. He just looks like a little bulldog out there. Now, I say a little bulldog. I mean, obviously he's a big fucking kid, but
Yeah, he's got what can be an overpowering fastball, and he's got a really good breaking ball. He needs to be a starting pitcher for this organization. I got to see him quite a bit, and he's taller than 6'1". His bio might say 6'1". He is taller than that. He gave us some really good innings out of the bullpen. Now he's in the starting rotation, and I asked you, or this is something that I brought up. I said, look, can Keegan develop into an ace for this organization? And I believe he can. I think he's obviously on the right track. His numbers speak for themselves. And I don't think there's any reason why he can't. I mean, look, you're not going to have a 1 ERA your whole career. But I think the way he's throwing now is going to give him the confidence to continue to build off of that and move forward into his transition as being a starting pitcher for the foreseeable future. And let's be honest, the Cubs need an ace. They don't have one right now. And this is no knock against, Kyle Hendricks. But they need a power starting pitcher to kind of headline that rotation. Keegan can be that guy. And with Steele can potentially be a 1 or 2 also. He is that type of guy. And the Cubs are going to need him and Steele to take the next step forward if they want to do any damage in that division. So I'm very hopeful that Thompson is going to turn into that guy. He's well on his way. And as a Cub through and through, I would love to see nothing more than Thompson and Steele turn.
Yeah. You bring up Steele, you can talk about him and Thompson in the same vein. Those guys are just bulldogs, man. They got a good attitude, good mentality. The other thing about Keegan Thompson, the curveball is good enough where I think he can pitch with confidence with the fastball, because you can make a couple more mistakes when your curveball has been as good as it's been so far. And so now he can start to learn a cutter. I think his cutter's gotten better from last year, even if it's not if it's not there yet. To be a starter, for him to really pitch consistently. I know we talked to Gossman about 2 pitches, but they got to be 2 filthy pitches. You really, for Thompson to settle in and establish and be able to go out and start every 5th day, he has to be able to throw a cut fastball alongside the cutter, and it has to be serviceable, because then it just makes the fastball play better. I don't want to be sitting in a position here where we're begging Keegan Thompson to master his fastball command, when it's like, dude, just I'd rather have him. I mean, the command, it can get better, obviously, but I'd rather have him come out with a very good cutter that he can use in the strike zone too.
Yeah, well, to be an ace, I mean, you need certain mastery of your fastball command. I mean, there's no question about that. His curveball plays well above average. Obviously, I think it's a plus breaking ball, and I've talked about this for a long time. If you can throw 95 or better, you should be able to develop a 90-mile-an-hour cutter. A well above average 90-mile-an-hour cutter. And it doesn't. A cutter is a fairly easy pitch to throw. A curveball is much more difficult. There's a lot more that goes into it with your hand position and how to get on it with your effort out front. A cutter is just a slight deviation of the grip, and you offset your hand on the right side of the ball, and you try and get that middle finger kind of on the front of the baseball. It's a fairly easy pitch to learn. So if he can develop a cutter, above average cutter, I mean, it's only going to make him better. But you're right. I mean, there's not many guys like Gausman, if any, outside of Gausman, that can go out there as a starter with only 2 pitches and dominate the way that he's capable of doing.
Well said. Well said from a guy who would you do this before? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Good one, huh? Snuck that in. See, the people want to see you smile. Let me see that. Let me see that big smile. Oh boy.
Look at them teeth, man. I got some nice
picture
teeth.
day, huh? That was a big day for you guys.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't smile very much in pictures, like team pictures. And it's kind of a weird thing. Just in the pictures, you're supposed to show your teeth.
Dude, the old school baseball cards where the guys would be finishing their swings, or they'd be I don't know. Those were cool. We got to bring some of those back. Those poses for picture day. All right, get back to the water park. This is a Tuesday show. Huge show coming out of the weekend. We're going to be back Thursday. We've got a special interview. I'm not teasing yet. And then Thursday show. If you guys have some questions for us, send them in. We will be back. Jake, closing thoughts.
Well, getting to the point of the middle of summer, teams are starting to separate themselves. Collins Mets are playing phenomenal. The rest of the division is kind of playing like shit. I love the Yankees. Anaheim, surprisingly, losing 11 straight. Houston's going to win that division. Mets are going to win their division. Yankees are going to win the East. Twins are going to win their division. We'll see. It's going to be an exciting, next month. I'm really excited to go to the College World Series with you guys. We're going to have a blast there. It's been such a treat doing this show. And again, if you guys are following along with us, if you love the show, like and subscribe. And thanks for coming on the journey with us. It's been a blast. We've had some hiccups, but we're going to clean our shit up. We're going to rename the show, and we're going to just continue to roll. All right, we're going to continue to roll. It's been great.
I was going to say, if you're listening to this, and to your point, you brought up Colin, like if the show sounds good and it's been a smooth listening experience, then you can't thank Colin Cooper enough. Go follow him on social media and stuff. It's our producer in New York, the Mets fan that we talk to all the time, right? Colin's Corner. You listen to him throughout the show. We're getting our shit together. So, Colin, thank you for your efforts. Hopefully you get the public recognition you deserve for stitching this one together.
Yeah, no problem. The audience doesn't know what I'm about to go through the next couple hours, but everything will be up as like normal running and everything tomorrow. So no worries.
Perfect. We'll see. Well, again, vibes are high. Vibes are very high going into Omaha. Jake, go hit the water slide. What's your first ride out? What's the first thing you're doing once you get back to the park?
The babbling baboon is number one. I'm going to do that. The kids are hungry, so we're going to take them to eat, and then try not to throw up in the water. There's a lazy river that goes like 4 or 5 miles an hour, so it's kind of fun. Water's only 2 feet deep, but I am going to.
All right, keep the switchblade in the hotel room. You don't want to be popping fucking rafts on the pan.
No doubt. No, well, I'm going to keep it. You know what? I've got this little bag, right? This little waterproof deal. And I'm going to put some cash in and my phone. They say don't use your phone for video on the rides, but that's bullshit. I'm taking my phone. I'm going to video the whole thing.
Until next time, guys, stay safe. Don't get an ear infection.
Sounds good. See you, boys.